You don't have to sneeze?
No.
Okay, good, because we're recording.
Well, that's good. I thought I had to.
Nah, you're
like,
good.
5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago?
Yeah, I feel like that's a long time ago.
It was quite a while ago, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Speaking of being okay,
Oh.
comes naturally, I am Cody, and actually today I'm being joined by...
Paige.
Yay, hello, Paige.
Hi.
So it's just Paige and I today. No Mike, no Joe. Definitely no Taj. We are here today. We're going to talk about our little excursion and Arizona adventure we had. Mm-hmm. So we went to... the first, main things we were going to Bearizona, which is a animal rescue and preservation park, I guess you could say, in northern Arizona, in Williams, Arizona, or outside Williams, Arizona. It opened in 2010, I believe. I'm reading off the website, so forgive me for any dumbness I say. But it is so conveniently located in the heart of northern Arizona and nestled amongst the beautiful Kabib. Is that how you say that?
Yeah?
Kabib? I don't know. National Forest.
I don't know.
Williams is considered the gateway to the Grand Canyon, which we found out. So basically, it's Williams is a small town on Route 66 in northern Arizona, and just outside of it is a place called Bearizona. Bearizona is a wildlife park, as it says here. It is roughly 160 acres. It has a drive-through with more than 3 miles of pine forest that you can view animals in their natural habitat, as long as the natural habitat is a gated area with structures made to look like fake rocks. But other than that, it looks like nature.
Yeah.
And then they have a walkthrough area called Fort Bearizona, which is a 20-acre walkthrough area that has winding paths that is more of a zoo-type setting. There's also guided tours you can do.
There's a petting zoo.
A petting zoo, and then a couple shows they do, like feeding shows and I think it's called the Predator show.
Talk or
something like that. Those weren't open because of COVID. So anything where you had to be in close proximity with another human being, they don't have open right now. So the only things you can do right now are the drive-through and the walk-through area. Obviously, during the walk-through area, you can actually walk around without your mask, but you are close when you have to stay with that, normal social distancing, so 6 feet apart from everybody. So I would recommend wearing your mask just in case. We did see a lot of people not wearing masks, and we avoided those people, of course.
Yeah.
So what did you think of your first trip to Bearizona?
I thought it was actually quite big, honestly.
Yes.
For being, somewhere in the middle of, I don't know, Williams. I've never heard of Williams.
Neither have I.
So, I don't know, I thought it was pretty big. And the restaurant was open, which we ate at.
Yep.
Which was nice. There wasn't a waterfall, though. I don't know where that was at.
Yeah, no, I didn't see a waterfall.
But the animals you could get, real close to when you did the drive-thru.
Real close.
Which was cool.
We saw, so they have bears. They have little bears, and they have big bears.
Wolves.
They have wolves. They have 2 different types, right? They had tundra wolves and Arctic wolves.
Yeah.
They had some goats, bison, and they had 2 different types of bison, right?
Yeah.
American white bison and another one, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I have the map here, I didn't pull it up. I should probably tell you right now if I clicked on the buttons that animals. You had mountain sheep.
Yeah.
Donkeys, or burros, American burros. And I think that was it for the drive-thru area, right?
Part. Yeah.
Let's see if I got all those. Black bear, Alaskan tundra wolves, American bison, American burro, Arctic wolf, the bighorn sheep. Oh, I said mountain sheep or something. They had the grizzly bear. Oh, they had deer, reindeer, and miniature donkeys were in the walkthrough area. pronghorns were there. They were all in there. Reindeer were there. Oh, I didn't see... Did we see any Rocky Mountain elk?
I don't think so.
No, I saw the white bison, and we saw the Rocky Mountain goat was the first one when you first drive through. In the walkthrough area, they had North American river otter, red foxes, raccoons. They had prairie dogs. Well, one prairie dog. Oh, it does say prairie dog. We also, like, so we saw the miniature donkeys in there, the American porcupine, the javelina, the jaguar, both the black one and the spotted one. The fennec fox was in there, right?
I don't think.
No, fennec fox wasn't there.
Fox.
We saw the bobcat.
Yeah.
We saw some bronze turkeys. They got real close to us. We saw a python, and we saw a beaver.
Yeah.
Oh, and we saw the porcupine. Oh, and the badgers were there too. Right?
You saw badgers?
Yeah.
Oh.
They were in one of the walkthrough areas.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the raccoons were sleeping. The badgers were kind of like, because we kept seeing them dig.
Yeah. Okay.
Beaver was sleeping in a little habitat. So the first when we first got there, we did the drive-through. We didn't see a lot of animals close to us. We saw them in the distance until we got to the wolves, and the tundra wolves were like right up on this Prius that was in front of us. And because when you're driving through, they tell you not to stop in certain areas, and those areas are the ones that are real dangerous. Things like the wolves, the bears, and the bison. They tell you not to stop unless obviously there's like one crossing the road. They don't want you to hit them. And they tell you not to roll your windows down in the wolves, the bears, and the bighorn sheep too, right?
No, I think it was just the wolves and the bears.
Well, it might have been just wolves and the bears. So you're not supposed to stop, take pictures with your windows down. You're not supposed to stop at all. No windows down for those ones. And we got to when you're on the drive-through, in 3 or 4 spots, there's a loop you can take, so you can kind of get away from the main road, but keep in that enclosure. And they give you an extra viewing area of some of the animals. The wolves were the first one we did that with because we got there before the bears section, because the bear has the 2 bigger ones. And that one is crazy because, like I said, they got really close to that. They started to cross the road, and so the Prius had to stop, and they started sniffing the front of the Prius, and then kind of just wandered off, and so we could all move again. So you can get up close. We saw a bear get close to a car that was in front of us. We saw one of the bighorn sheep get close to a car that was in front of us. And then we got pretty close to a couple deer.
Yeah.
In the one area where they had like a feeding thing right next to the side of the road, and they were just chilling there. And they're just, you can take pictures as you're there. That was our first drive-through. Then we did the walk-through where we saw the smaller animals, the badger, the pike, the porcupine, the raccoon, the beaver. We saw the bobcat. One of the bobcats was actually in a tree, which is pretty cool,
really
just
cool.
chilling in the tree. We saw the otters, which were adorable.
We saw those 3 cubs.
Oh, the 3 cubs that were rescued, yeah. We got those ones. Those ones were just recently rescued as of,
it was
late last year, right?
Well, they were only 3, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it was late last year, and their mom got hunted.
No, so she ended up killing or biting a hiker or something.
Oh, yeah.
And so it had to be euthanized because obviously she attacked a human. And I guess that, if I remember reading one time before, if a wild animal attacks somebody, they will more likely be attacking another human being again later on, I think is what they said.
Yeah.
So they have those 3 cubs there that they keep together, and that they're I guess getting ready to introduce into the main population of the park. I'm not too sure. There's no there to ask, so we just go by the sign, what the sign said on there. There's a cub cam?
Yeah, you can watch them.
That's funny. We're on their website, so I'm clicking on there to see if it loads, but I don't know if it's going to or not.
I think it's because it's dark.
But they don't have lights just shining on the bears at night?
Why would they do that?
That's mean. I want to see them.
Well, we'll look at them tomorrow.
All right, that's fine. They have career listing, babe.
Oh, well, I don't live there. Haha.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then the second drive-through we did after we ate, we took our time a little longer on that one, but there was a lot more other animals out active. The first drive-through we did was around noon.
Yeah.
When we first got there.
Yeah.
The second one was about 1-ish or so.
Yeah.
Because we left about 2 o'clock or so.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. That one had a lot more, way more bears visible, and they were out active.
There were a ton of bears.
Yeah, there was a bunch of bears. We saw more reindeer that time.
Yeah.
We saw less of the bighorn sheep that time, which is weird.
Which was weird.
We saw one of the bison across the road in the new area they were working on. There were a lot more of them out and about. Let's see. Same amount of wolves. They were just sleeping this time instead of just wandering around.
There weren't a lot of wolves.
I think we only saw like 3 in the main in the tundra one.
Yeah.
And then in the other one we saw the Arctic wolves. So I think there was 2 out.
Yeah.
And then one inside.
Yeah.
Little, I don't know what that area is. Vetish area or pinning. I don't know what that is. Just kind of secluded away from everybody else. So we saw the same amount there. Saw more deer. We saw more reindeer. Same amount of goats when we first walked in. The bison were active.
Did we talk about the otters?
Yeah, the otters were adorable. There was 4 of them.
They had a slide.
That little slide. We were hoping they would use it a little bit, but they didn't. They dove off into the water and then swam around. And it's cool because on one half you can actually go and underneath there's a viewing window. You can go and you can watch them. We didn't get to see them swimming in there from there, but that's a pretty cool thing if they're more active.
It was really cute because they hung out with each other.
Yeah, they ran around with each other. And when we came out from lunch, we walked back out to say hi to them again. And 3 of them were sleeping, and they were all sleeping in a pile. Yeah. And then one was kind of roaming around looking for stuff, and he was playing with ice. And he was swimming around and doing those little, like, swim on his back thing. And it was pretty adorable.
That was probably the best part.
Yeah, by far, the otters were pretty cool. I think that was it for Bearizona. I mean, obviously right now with COVID, the restrictions they have, like I said earlier, some of the stuff you can't really do, which is a shame because like the guided tour would be fun to do.
The petting zoo.
Zoo was closed, even though we saw like the burros and like the goats and stuff that were there. You just couldn't pet them and feed them. And that turkey was bonkers. Wild. He didn't give 2 shits about being next to a human being.
He did not care.
Nope, he's like, I'm gonna be right here next to you. So if you're going up there, if you want to check it out, just know that some of the stuff you can't do right now, being the live shows, the feedings, the petting zoo, and the tour. I would like to do the tour just to kind of learn more about because I'm sure they talk about the park, they talk about the animals, where they came from, how long they've been there, who they are, their names, things like that. Because the walkthrough area, you get to read the placards and it tells you your names.
But there was nobody around to like ask questions or anything.
So that was kind of shitty. They have a really nice gift shop too. That has a lot of crazy stuff in it.
It's huge.
Yeah, we even found stuff with our names on it, which is not a normal thing that I can usually do, and definitely Paige. It's not two common names too often. It used
to be.
Yeah.
Not no more.
Not no more.
Not
so
no more.
That was kind of cool. They had a bunch of cool, fun shirts that were there. Not just for Bearizona, they had some for just in general. I mean, they were from Bearizona, but they didn't just say Bearizona on them. They had ones. They had classic wolf shirts and classic bear shirts, which are pretty funny. They had wolf and bear slippers,
which I was going to buy some, but I changed my mind.
Yeah, they're pretty
too
cool.
Hot.
Way too warm, yeah. They had a bunch of other stuff. They had like little scorpions and a little crystal like pyramid thing they had in there. They have photo ops with different stuffed animals or stuffed creatures, fake ones, some mostly. They have your normal touristy stuff. Nothing like one of the trading posts wasn't open, which is called the War Path or something like that. It's right when you walk in. That wasn't open. The food in the park was open, but it's limited. That's like the smaller one. Like you can get French fries and nachos and hot dogs and stuff there. And then the main restaurant's open, but it's limited to capacity as well as staffing. But it's still, I mean, it was actually good food and the service wasn't terrible or anything like that. They took care of us really well.
They were actually all real nice. The people in the gift shop were nice. Restaurant was nice.
Yeah, it was a really nice group of people. Lady at the gate was really nice.
Yeah.
She kind of gave us a little bit of info when we first got there because we were newbies, and she's like, "Oh, let me tell you."
Let me tell you about this place.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
It wasn't that expensive. It was $50 for the both of us.
Yeah, $50 for us, and that includes everything, except for obviously food you have to pay for
and stuff. But $50, and we were there for a good 2 hours and saw a lot of things. I feel like if things were open more, like the tour and stuff, we'd be there longer.
Yeah,
definitely. But I think it was worth it.
Yeah,
it was awesome. I want to go back.
And there's no limit to how long you can be there.
Yeah, you can go through the drive-thru like 80 times if you want.
Yeah, you just have to obviously follow the rules about not stopping or getting out of your vehicle so you don't die and, harm a creature. Paige.
Excuse me?
Nothing.
Okay.
So yeah, you can, if you wanted to just keep driving the loops through the drive-thru area, you can. You can spend all the time you want hanging out. I mean, we saw people drinking White Claws and stuff, just hanging out in the walkthrough area, just, not wearing masks and being around perfect strangers. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool for the amount of money. I think it's the ticket price was based on the size of the vehicle and how many people you had in it, right?
No.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, it was just based if you're an adult. I don't know how much it is for children.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's just that was the price of the 2 adults?
Yeah, you're thinking of the Grand Canyon.
Oh, that's right, Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
That brings us to the next part of our adventure, the Grand Canyon. Again,
not planned.
Not plans. Not part of the plan at all. Our plan was literally to drive to Williams, go through Flagstaff to get there, one day go to Bearizona, experience what it is like being Williams. Then the next day we're going to drive back home, but we're going to go through Sedona and Jerome and then Prescott, which you can skip, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So that was the plan, and then we ended up spending as much time because we didn't have the Jeep tour or the guided tour or some of the live shows to do. So we got done with the park in about 2.5 hours or so. So we're like, you know what? We're in the gateway to the Grand Canyon here in Williams, and it ends up being about just under an hour to get there.
Why not?
So we said, why not? So we're driving. I know nothing about the Grand Canyon other than it's a giant hole in the ground. And I didn't know there was camping there. I didn't know any of that stuff.
I don't know anything because I'm from Colorado, so...
Yeah, and I've been in Arizona for 20 years and never been there, so you'd think I'd know a little bit more about it, but I don't. So we're like, fuck it, let's go. So we drove up to the Grand Canyon, found out that it costs money to get in Grand Canyon. Not in the Grand Canyon, but to the actual park that surrounds, which ends up being $35 for us.
It was $35 based on...
The vehicle. And then how long you're gonna be there, right? Because we gotta. Well, the base one is a week.
The base one is a week, so you can't pick a day. You can't pick a certain amount of hours. Which I guess I understand the hours part, but the day, you should be able to just pick a day. But I understand they need money, whatever. But
also, I think it's less policing having to do if you're there for saying I'm coming for a day, and all of a sudden you're there for like a week.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because I guess for like how many people we can let in.
Because you can camp there and shit. So that makes sense.
So we found out that was $35 for us, which actually wasn't that bad because it's a very nice place to go.
Yeah.
And there's even a hotel there. Actually, there was like 2, I think we saw, right?
There were 2
inside the actual park.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a lot to it.
Yeah, there's a lot more than I thought was actually there because, again, I knew nothing about the Grand Canyon or the national park that's there because, I don't care enough about it, apparently. So we found out that was a thing. It was actually pretty cool. We, again, not knowing anything about it, we ended up going to the more touristy area, which is part of the South Rim, which is like if you're putting in your GPS, as well as the main road just kind of feeds you right there. There's a lot of people there. Nothing's really open except for a bookstore that has a lot of memorabilia for the Grand Canyon.
The visitor center.
The visitor center was open.
The bathrooms were open.
The bathrooms were open. And then, obviously, you can walk up to everything. So we did that. Where you park is about a 5-minute... It didn't even seem like 5 minutes. It seemed like less than that.
Yeah.
They say it's a 5-minute walk, but that's, I guess, if you're looking at stuff and reading things. We just walked until we found a giant hole in the ground, and that was like, it's the Grand Canyon. Plus, there was just a bunch of people there, so it kind of helped us figure it out. What were your impressions of the Grand Canyon never being there before?
I feel like everybody should go and experience it at least once in their life. It was very crazy to see it. Like, you obviously, like, see pictures and, like, see it on TV or whatever, but, like, when you go, it's unreal. Like, it feels like you're looking at a huge picture.
It doesn't look real.
It doesn't look real at all. Like, and even when you take pictures of it, it's not the same. Like, we took a couple that, like, but it's nuts. And, like, I feel like for the money, it's definitely worth it. At least to go once.
Yeah, because if you pile a bunch of people in there, it's actually obviously cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, the two of us, $35 actually isn't that bad.
Yeah, especially if you like to hike. There were a lot of trails that you could go hike. We obviously don't do that.
Yeah, no, we didn't hike.
But if you don't hike, there's also places where you can just go up, and it's like you said, like a 5-minute walk or whatever.
From the parking lot.
From the parking lot, but it's not... Like, you don't have to go and hike some stupid-ass long trail to get to whatever. You can still see the good part of the Grand Canyon by just doing the basic 5-minute walk.
Yeah. Then during our 5-minute walk, we actually saw a sign that told us a little more about it, because we don't know shit about the Grand Canyon and the experience there, that tells us about a scenic driving route you can take along the southern rim of the Grand Canyon that has spots where you can stop and look from there as well. And then at the end of it, on the south end of the rim, there's a thing called the Watchtower, which is built in like 19 or like 18 something or other. It's an old building built by some Native Americans, I think is what it was. But it wasn't open because it was closed for renovations while COVID was going on. Nothing over there was open. The gas station was closed. The gift shop / ice cream place was closed.
Which they didn't tell you.
They did not tell you. The bathrooms were we didn't check the bathrooms though, did we?
I'm pretty sure they were. Well, I don't know. Because
we saw porta potties.
Yeah, but they also had a building for the restrooms, but I didn't see anybody go in there.
It's true.
There was only like 5 people over there.
Yeah,
though,
there weren't very many people over there,
which was nice.
Yeah, so it's a less touristy area, and it's a pretty cool drive. Not such a great drive at night, because it's a 2-lane road. It's pretty windy and hilly.
And there's animals.
And there's animals that can come out. And so, it's not the best drive at night, but it's not terrible. It's, it wasn't too bad, but it's not, I mean, I could see it being a giant pain in the ass if there's a lot of cars coming back and forth. But that was a pretty cool one because there are a lot of we stopped at one of them on the way back from there that has a pretty good view. It was just really, really cold, and I'm not good with the cold.
It wasn't that bad, but... What?
It was cold. It was 20-something degrees.
Okay, it was cold, but not like...
It wasn't snowing cold, but it could have been if it was raining, I think. Anyhow.
I doubt it.
But there's a lot of cool stops along that road you can go to. Some of them are pretty iffy with no railing, but be careful, don't yeet off into the canyon. But a lot of cool vantage points you can see, and the road goes along the canyon a couple times, so... pay attention to driving, but you can view into the canyon from the road, which is pretty awesome. And then, like I said, when we got to the end where it had the watchtower, there's a viewing point you can go walk to, and then there's a couple benches that just kind of look over into the canyon, which I thought was pretty sketchy and terrifying. But the view is amazing. It looks unreal. Like, literally, it looks unreal. You look at it, and your feeble human brain can't process the depth of it, how far back it goes, how big it is. Pictures, like Paige said, don't do it justice. Even with the best of cameras, you can get a really good picture of it that looks good, but you just don't get the scope of it, even if you take a selfie with it, because it's just so massive, it just doesn't look like it's there. We got a couple shots of the sunset that was pretty cool, because we were there at the end. Yeah. And the sunset, literally, this time of year, so the winter to January of 2021, it was setting like essentially right in the Grand Canyon, so it just lit up everything really cool. And then we didn't stay too long to see the stars, but I guess at night, if it's clear, you can see a lot of the stars because there's like no city lights out there because it's so far away and it's so big that it's just open and you can see the stars, which is pretty cool. But it would have been pretty cold, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm not good with the cold, as I said before, so we were like, yeah, let's go now.
It's probably the best time to go too.
Yeah, wintertime was probably the best. It wasn't very hot. It wasn't very crowded. I mean, there was a lot of people there, but it wasn't like
overwhelming.
We got parking really, really close up front. We didn't have to drive around and trying to find a close spot. I literally went to the other side, and I parked, maybe 10 or 12 spots back.
Yeah.
But even from that one, it's literally like if you're taking one of the bus tours, which they did have at the Grand Canyon, they had running bus tours, which I think is probably bus you off. There was a bus route on the map. I can't remember what it is, but I think it brings you to
There was I think it brings you 4 stops.
Yeah.
But
that goes the other way because the way we took eventually was the car route. That's pedestrian car route. The buses took you along the rim the other way, so going along the south rim, going west at that point, where we went east solo and by ourselves. But there's plenty of signs to know where you're going. It's not like you're going to get lost. No. But obviously with COVID and being off season, most likely, a lot of it was not open to that stuff. But it's still. They didn't tell us we couldn't bring in drinks or food, so we had expensive Cokes we got from McDonald's on the way there.
You can bring your animals.
You can bring your animals. We did see quite a few dogs. We saw a guy, which we thought was just a really obnoxiously big hiking backpack. And when he picked it up, he turned around, and it's 2 cats inside the backpack with little viewing windows.
Just chilling in
his backpack. We're like, well, that guy's the guy who wins the weekend. Because he's the coolest guy in the canyon right now. But yeah, we saw a bunch of dogs walking around. People. We saw dumb people, like always. You're going to see everywhere. If you're there and it's snowing, be careful because there's ice on the steps.
Even now.
Yeah, even right now.
And there wasn't snow on.
Yeah.
There wasn't
fresh snow.
No.
It was been there for a while. There was snow around, but it wasn't like loosely snow. It was all packed down snow. You had to break apart with your foot if you wanted to throw a chunk at someone, or build a snowman. So it's not like that. But just be careful on the steps. Even there's warnings there, and you can see. But definitely use the handrails because that was pretty sketch walking down some of those steps on a couple of them.
Steep.
And bring hand sanitizer because there's tons of people there that are touching those handrails as well. So don't get the COVID and make this worse. But yeah, and then we drove back to Williams for the night. Went to a pretty cool brewery that was in town. Had pretty good food and pretty good environment to be in. And then the next day we drove back home, but we took the super Uber scenic route, which was driving partially back to Flagstaff to take a different highway into Sedona. Pretty amazing drive. What I thought was a pretty amazing drive turned out to be an extremely impressive drive. Yeah. But if you're a nervous driver or you don't like narrow streets and having to it's not a rough drive, but they're very narrow streets, a lot of switchbacks, and kind of slow going. Don't go this way.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't imagine if you go the other way, unless there's a different way than Jerome. I think there was. Because even Jerome was a sketchy-ass drive. We'll get there in a minute.
Not good in the winter.
Not good in the winter, yeah. No. If it's snowing, don't go that way. Because it's
sketchy.
You literally come out of rolling hills, wide open highway with, trees many feet away from you. And then all of a sudden you come around a turn, the lanes just go down to 2, and then you're on the side of a cliff going down.
Which was random.
Was super random because it came out of nowhere. You're just like, oh, it's like this foresty area, and it's all good. Trees close in next to the road, you come around, and all of a sudden you're going downhill into a switchback that you keep doing back and forth we were in the hill.
It was a good,
maybe 30 minutes of driving that?
I would say it was a half an hour of doing that.
Yeah. And then, the crazy part about it is there's just all of a sudden a street you can turn onto if you're, or not even a street, a road you can turn onto if you're going to go camping down there.
Yeah.
And then just giant houses.
Everywhere
in there.
Which would be cool to live, but...
Yeah, if you had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
There were, just cars pulled over on the side with people nowhere to be seen. You're like, oh my god, this is not cool. It was gorgeous. It looked beautiful. Nothing like I've ever seen really before, especially in Arizona, because it was so. It was in Paige will even say this. It was very similar to driving in Colorado or where my grandparents used to live in Alpine, where it was foresty and it didn't really resemble Arizona. People say Oh, if you want to see a better part of Arizona, go to Flagstaff. Yeah. If you want to see the best part of Arizona, go to Sedona.
Yeah. Most definitely.
That was gorgeous.
Sedona was beautiful.
Yeah. Even the city itself was pretty amazing because it was spacious. It wasn't, bogged down very much. It was just 2 lanes. You could go back and forth, and lots of shops and restaurants you can go to and kind of see everything. But then nothing's, I should say, spacious because nothing's obstructing the view of the mountains and the wilderness around it. You can literally just walk to the edge and just see all the stuff. And it does have touristy stuff and gift shops and crystal shops and psychic readings and all sorts of weird shit. There's a couple candle stores that are pretty awesome. The one we bought's called the Magic Candle Company.
Yeah.
Right? Magic Candle Company. I
don't know. It's in Sedona.
Do I have it over here? I
do. Were we right?
Sedona Candle Magic. We were not right.
Wow.
Anyways. We are terrible. Anyways, and you can check them out at Sedona-candlemagic.com. Just a free plug for them right there.
On Instagram.
And Facebook. And
they have a website that you can order.
Yeah, you can customize orders, customize candles and have them shipped to you, which is pretty cool.
Probably tell them why it's cool, though.
Oh, yeah. So what makes it really cool is, and what makes them magic is there are multiple layers of wax that is then carved and then sealed, and when you burn it, the light goes through the clearish wax and illuminates through the other layers of wax to make it look like the inside of the candle's glowing. And there's radiance of color. So like the one we're staring at currently is the one we bought for us, which is a skull that's very reminiscent of like a candy skull or a sugar skull from the Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
It's got like the flowers, petals around the eyes, and it's got, carved in teeth, and a rosary type thing goes around the back of it.
Awesome.
It's pretty awesome. And the outside's like this shadowy gray with a little bit of white. And then the back behind it is, without lighting it, it looks like it's just like red.
Yeah.
But when you light it, it's actually gradients of red all the way down to like almost like a burgundy color. And so when you light it, it lights up in the different colors through it. And if you burn it properly, they give you a little instruction card I'm holding in my hand. It's called burn to refill instructions. And there's a couple things you can do. It says it burns through, it burns straight down into a hole. One, not ruining the integrity of the design, but also letting you be able to put in like tea candles as well as LED candles in there. But you can also you can bring it back to them and have them refill it with wax to burn again that way without damaging the outer design, which is pretty awesome. So they're not just a candle that you're going to buy and then get rid of. It's a piece of art that you can utilize forever. So like the price of them is kind of, at first when you look at them, it's a candle and these things are kind of expensive. But then when you learn about the candle,
it's cool.
It's really cool because it's something you can keep forever. They're pretty hefty candles. Even the smaller ones are a good probably pound or so. And they have all sorts of different designs. Like I said, you can customize them with colors, probably even like pick a design. We haven't really gone to the website to look at it because we saw it live. But you can watch them make the candles right there in the shops. There was 3 of them.
There were 3 shops in Sedona, and they're only in Sedona, so they're Sedona-based, and from what I looked up, they've only been doing it for a couple years, and they stopped for a little bit, but they're back doing it now, and it's cool to watch them do it in the store.
Yeah, you can watch them do it, and they're really friendly. The 2 girls that we dealt with were really friendly, very helpful.
One gave us a discount.
One gave us a discount because we bought 2 candles, mainly because we didn't know, not because we weren't going to buy 2 candles. We didn't really know anything about them until we found out about them. But then we got one, and then after we ate lunch, we saw another one. Turned out it's the same company, so we looked around there. We found another one we got for my mom, which is pretty cool. And they had a lot of, like, this one was a bigger space, had more of an options, and she was even telling us, but then she found out that we bought another candle just a little bit ago, so she ended up getting us the multi-candle discount, so that was pretty cool too, so we saved a little bit of money that way. But they're pretty awesome. They have a lot of really cool designs, quite a different skulls that have they have mushrooms, and they have
Tiki heads.
Tiki heads.
They had a Jack Skellington one.
Yeah, Jack Skellington one was the most common one you say is just a round ball.
Yeah.
With a lot of different designs, not just the same design, but it's a bunch of different designs, but it's that same size mold. And those ones have the same effect. You can burn them properly and they can refill them or use the tea candles and then LED lights and stuff, and it was pretty awesome. So that was pretty cool. So check them out. I'll put a link on the website as well for that if I remember. And then from there, we drove to Jerome, which was about 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
It's like the next mountain over, essentially.
Yeah.
I have never been there before. I've only seen pictures, which obviously pictures can lie quite a bit, which it did. I didn't know what to expect. Joe's description of it leaves a lot to the imagination. He says a 2-lane former mining town that you can go get wine tasting at.
That's very generic to what it was.
Yeah. So this
town is nuts.
Town is bonkers.
Don't know how people live there.
Yeah,
first of all.
Yeah, other than just being a tourist area, but there's
nothing.
So set it up for you. So the same windy ass road I took down into Sedona, there's one very similar to it on the other side of Sedona that leads up to this 2-lane stretch of road that goes uphill into a town that's literally built on the side of a mountain. In 3 levels, right?
It was 3 levels because the hotel was on top.
Yeah, then you drive past the hotel. Yeah,
then you go.
So there's the first level you enter on from the side we came into, which was the Sedona side. You drive up into the mountain, and then you drive up into the town. You come around, and it's literally the tightest thing ever. And one of the first things you see, besides a bunch of houses just kind of crammed on the side of the hill, is this wrought iron gate with like an old ass taxi in it and a skeleton sitting in the seat. And you're like, well.
And like you drive past it really fast, so you don't even you see it on the side of your eye, and you're like, "What the fuck is that?" And you realize that it's a skeleton, just chilling.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, well that's
cool.
That's our first indication of something weird going on.
Yeah, that's great.
So then we continue into town. The road then splits and becomes a one-way only that brings us to our first set of parking, which we just parked at and got out because we didn't know any difference. It doesn't actually matter. The parking is that's actually
kind of in the middle.
Yeah, it's actually the best parking that's there. It just happens to be at the bottom of a bunch of stairs and walking, which is not terrible, but not really ideal if you're not into walking. But uphill both ways. But so you park down there. And there's not a lot of parking, so if it's a busy time, I can imagine it's probably a pain in the ass. There's some parking like off on the sides in one area, behind some stuff. The Haunted Hamburger had like really no parking at it at all because it was the side that led up to the hotel, which is a whole other nightmare. So then we left. So we walked around a couple different shops. Some of them were closed on certain days. 2 of the stores we wanted to go to, or not that we wanted to go to, but we found that we wanted to go to, were closed every day. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they were closed, right?
Yeah.
So they were basically Saturday or Friday through Monday. So we couldn't go to those ones. They have a lot of cool like goth stuff and like skeleton stuff and things like that, which is really really cool looking, at least. They had a barber shop you can go to. They had a spice shop we went into.
They had a candy store.
2 Christmas stores.
Yeah, which was weird.
Yeah, like a weird thing. Like 2 full-on, we think they're 24/7, 365 days a year Christmas stores. Because the one we went into, which is called like the Under something or other, decked out in Christmas stuff still. Playing Christmas music, has Christmas decorations everywhere. Wasn't one of those like, oh, we're just going to put up Christmas stuff. This thing was decked out with like full-on lights on the roof and giant Christmas trees and like decorations hanging from the roof. Like it doesn't look like it's something they just kind of put up for the holiday season and take down, especially since we were there 2 weeks after Christmas and it was still there. Then we didn't go to the other one. We saw another one when we were driving up towards the hotel. We saw another all Christmas store. And I was like, well, that seems strange to have 2, like, only Christmas stores in the same small little town. So that was weird. We ended up we walked by the Caduceus wine store, which is the Maynard James Keenan owned company, wine company that's actually from Jerome. But when we went into the Pussifier store, which was pretty cool, had a wine tasting place. I guess from reading the signs, was a wine tasting co-op, which there's a bunch of different companies go in there, and you can taste their wines and buy wine from them, as well as just chill and drink wine, I think. But it was a record store and a memorabilia store.
And a barbershop.
All in this one, essentially 2 but 3 level shop. The 3rd level was for employees only, so we didn't go down there. But they have records from all different types of music. So there's hip-hop, rock, heavy. There's some punk stuff in there. They had no Tool stuff. It was all sold out. They had Perfect Circle stuff. They have tons of Pussifier stuff. They had posters, which I ended up getting one from the show I actually went to a couple years ago, which is pretty awesome. But they had they're all silk screen printed, so they're kind of limited numbers, and they're wasn't actually that expensive. I think mine was $40.
I think it was $40.
Yeah, so it's $40, and it's a very large printed poster. They're all from different cities, so if you went to a Perfect Circle show or a Pussifier show, most likely you can find one of those there. They had signed ones which were ridiculously priced on some of them. $250, $500. There was a really cool Tool one that was $1,000.
Yep.
So I was not getting that one. And then they had all sorts of crazy. They had these sunglasses that were $500 and were made out of old vinyl records. That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
They had all sorts of different merchandise you could buy from Pussifier itself. They had what would you call that, deity setup where you could give offerings to the Pussifier god or whatever.
I didn't even know what the hell that was.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was
kept staring at it and I didn't know what was going on.
Just money all over it and offerings of there's a candy and shit there. It was weird.
It was I became possessed after walking past it. So I didn't know what was going on at all.
Yeah, so if you don't know about Pussifier, it's Maynard James Keenan's band, one of them, and they're pretty out there. But that's the deity that he makes up in those stories or in those songs. I can't remember the name of it. It's something to do with pussy. But so there's a shrine there to her. You can
it's
give her an offering.
terrifying.
It's pretty terrifying. It's made out of wood and it's giant. It's pretty crazy. So that was pretty cool. You could buy a bunch of stuff there.
That was probably the coolest store.
It was the coolest store we walked into because it was kind of this is a cool little vibe and everyone's really nice. Playing music all the time, which is pretty cool. Then we walked around a little bit more, went to the Christmas shop.
Yeah. Just tried to find shops.
Yeah, try to find cool shops to go into to see if we can buy anything cool. Then we went to the Haunted Hamburger. We didn't eat there because we had already eaten Sedona, but we went into the gift shop and ended up buying a shirt for my mom there. Looked around. It's a cool little restaurant that overlooks the view from the city or the town over the mountain. And then we drove up the sketchy ass single lane road that you can only drive. You have to drive 5 miles an hour uphill on this cobblestone road to get to it, to find out that it's the only way up and down, so you have to compete with other traffic coming up or down, which is not easy to do, as we found out as we're coming back down. We weren't able to go in because you can't really walk around it without going to the restaurant or actually checking into the hotel.
It's
haunted, so you can't just walk around and touristy it or look around in it. So next time we plan a trip, we're probably gonna at least stay one night there to see what it's all about, and hopefully not bring home a ghost. But it was cool. The town is just completely bonkers.
They basically just call it what was it, the ghost town of Arizona? Is
Yeah,
that what they called it?
Yeah.
And they had even at the Haunted Hamburger, they had skeletons. So their theme was everything's haunted. And the 2 shops that we wanted to go to, one had that movie about the town being haunted or whatever, and apparently
you can watch.
Yeah, people have noticed a presence while you're watching it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do that, and of course that wasn't open. But then they do ghost tours.
Yep.
I don't know if that was going on right now.
No, we did see the Ghost Adventures van that was there.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. There's a haunted mine you can go to called the Gold King, right?
Yeah.
We didn't go to because we didn't know about it until we were leaving town. Yeah, I mean, basically it. And there's a lot of wine and wine tasting you can do there, which is kind of weird, but that's what Jerome's kind of known for, I guess. There was a lot of people there. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's a cool place. It's just it's one of those things where it's like it's super old.
It's sketchy.
And it's real sketchy.
If you like ghosts and stuff like that, you have to stay at that hotel.
Yeah, for sure. And look it up too. I'll put a link to the website, but also just like Google it, and you can look up there's crazy like 8,000 something people had died there, or 9,000
people died there, and then it's funny because when you look at the website, it doesn't talk about anything being haunted relatively at all. And apparently the hotel used to be a hospital. So
the restaurant's called the Asylum.
Yeah. Which is funny that the website's like, oh, just come and stay here. It's a nice hotel. Yeah. Well, till you get haunted.
Yeah, until you find out that your phone moves by itself and shampoo bottles are being thrown across the room.
Your TV turns on by itself. It's great, but we're going to do it because we are stupid, but it's
and we
fine.
want a ghost in our life. So it was pretty cool. And then as we left, we went to Prescott, which is just this town.
Yeah, I was not impressed. It's
so you
big.
can skip that. Yeah, it's big, but it's nothing.
It's nothing that
impressive and stuff. So you can skip that portion and just take the route back out the quick way, which is the I-17, which we ended up having to take anyways. Because another hour or so driving the other way made no sense. But yeah, that's about it. That was it for our adventure up north in northern Arizona.
It was fun.
Yeah, went to Bearizona, went to Grand Canyon, went to Sedona, went to Jerome. Should have avoided Prescott. But yeah, no, other than that, it was really fun. We had a good time. We were gone for 3 days.
Yeah. Left
on Sunday, came back on Tuesday. But yeah, lots of fun. I recommend Bearizona. If you've never been to the Grand Canyon and you live locally, check it out. If you're not local, when you happen to want to do something fun, want to go camping or glamping, you can go to the Grand Canyon, and it's actually a pretty cool place. There's a small little town, which I can't pronounce the name of, that is essentially right outside, that has large hotels in it. You can stay there and go in and out, because if you pay for the week-long pass that all of them seem to have, if you're either camping on the grounds or just want to come back and forth, you can keep going back and doing all the different things at the Grand Canyon for that one price for the whole week. So that was pretty cool. Now, we did that, but maybe next time we might do that. But if you want to stay at the fancy hotel, you can go back and forth between the park without having to pay for a pass every single time. But yeah, that's about it. Like normal, comes naturally. I am Cody. That's a space. That's a space. I was joined today by
Paige.
And those spaces were for Joe and Mike, who were not joining us today.
Or
Taj. I didn't give him a space because who cares about that guy?
Oh.
He doesn't listen, so it's fine.
Okay.
But as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.